Hi there. I am going to pick a random saying from this book. One should seek for others the happiness one desires for oneself. One should seek for others the happiness one desires for oneself. And the section this is under is the chapter on quotes of goodness. And the section is called Variations of the Golden Rule. It is attributed only to Buddhist. Namaste. And the way I believe that this is meant to be interpreted is that these various quotes here under this section are meant to be seen as various cultural interpretations of the same general concept, the concept of the golden rule, as most would call it, the Christian variation of do unto others as you would do unto yourself, or rather would wish to be done unto yourself. Because this seems to be in a quote set of quotes to be considered together rather than a single quote, I will breach my earlier directive in that I was only going to read one random quote and read to you the rest of them, if for no other reason than just out of interest. What you would not wish done to yourself, do not do unto others. That's the Chinese variation. Do not that to a neighbor which you shall take ill from him. That's Greek, and if you know much about Greek, you could probably tell. They have kind of a funky sentence structure. The true rule of life is to guard and do by the things of others as they do by their own. That is the Hindu variation. Let none of you treat his brother in a way that he himself would not like to be treated. That is the Muslim interpretation. Do as you would be done by. That's the Persian interpretation. And the Roman interpretation is, the law imprinted on the hearts of all men is to love the members of society as themselves. So a whole bunch of different quotes with the same general concept, same basic foundation, same general roots. If you wouldn't want it done to yourself, then don't do it to someone else. Put yourself in someone else's shoes when you're doing something to them. How would they feel? How would you feel if someone did that to you? Do as you would be done by. It's the Persian one again, if you forgot. Do as you would be done by. Do as you would be done by. You know, I feel like the golden rule is the most violated rule of any rule out there. If for no other reason than just because we're human. And that's both the reason for it to be broken and the reason against it being broken. Now, what do I mean by that? What's my argument there? Well, we're human. We are one of the most empathic creatures out there, short of the hive minds, like the bees and the ants. We are as connected to one another as we can be, while still retaining a very definitive sense of self. A very definitive sense of the individual. As a result of that, we have a definite feeling of what we want, and a definite feeling of what each other wants. Because of that, we find it very easy to feel how others feel. Very empathic, like I said. But at the same time, we find it just as easy, and at times even easier, to ignore that. To disregard our understanding of one another's feelings. And that's natural. That is completely and totally understandable. We're human, for God's sake. We have flaws. There are errors in our system. That's beautiful. Error is beauty. Error is the basis of natural selection. It is mutations which drive change. But at the same time, just because something is understandable doesn't mean it's per se acceptable, I suppose would be a word. It is understandable for a thief to steal bread to feed his family. But that thief is still going to prison, or if he is in certain cultures, he's going to have his hands cut off by virtue of his being a thief. It's understandable, but it's not accepted. By another token, it is understandable for an individual to... let's find a good example, a really good example. It's understandable for an individual who is insecure in their own sense of self, their own concept of me, of who they are, to thusly prey upon others to feed their own sense of self. Whether that is actively bringing others down, as with the case of a generic bully who requires insulting others, bringing others down, destroying other self-esteem so as to give themselves their own self-esteem, or in the case of the social parasite who has no personality of their own and so seeks others who have great personality, magnanimous personalities, be they individuals of great repute or individuals of ill repute, in the hopes of having some of that personality washed off on them. These are the generic yes men, the one who hover and orbit around the magnanimous, or less than magnanimous, and just kind of stick around there. They do whatever it takes to stay there, because they have to secure their own sense of who they are, of what they are, because they can't define it for themselves. It's understandable. Completely. We all do something along those lines every now and again. The issues start when we don't realize that we're doing it. And not even then. The issue doesn't really start then. Because then it's not even an issue. We don't even realize it's an issue then, so it's not an issue. The issue starts when we realize what we're doing. Because it's at that point that we choose not to do anything about it. That is a problem. Because at that point we have recognized the fact that we lack the strength of character to break away from that error of self, to define who we are rather than looking to others, be it destroying them or feeding off of them to define ourselves. If you choose to be a parasite, you will be treated as a parasite. You will do unto others precisely what will be done unto you. As you feed off of others, others will perhaps not feed off of you, but take of you. As you have taken from them, so too shall they take of you. Do as you would be done by. I especially like the Roman interpretation, though, because of all these interpretations, as well as the Buddhist one, it seems to get at the other side of things from what I've been talking about. The law imprinted on the hearts of all men is to love the members of society as themselves. The law imprinted on the hearts of all men is to love the members of society as themselves. We're human. We love ourselves a lot. A lot. That's kind of human nature. We love to love ourselves. It's to ask us to love others as much as we love ourselves. That's tall order. But at the same time, since we're human, we can pull off a lot of really fantastic stuff. I would venture to say that there may not even be an order too tall to ask of a human being. Of course, it's a matter of if they choose to fulfill it. So I suppose that's something of the challenge I put out to you. Not the generic audience, not this vague, abstract concept of you, as in the screen I'm talking to, but you, as an individual, watching this. You. Insert name here. My challenge to you is to fulfill that order. To make good by the law imprinted on your heart and the heart of everyone else. To love every member of society as you love yourself. And if you hate yourself, that's also understandable. I hate myself too, quite a bit. It's a love-hate relationship with myself. Very vicious cycle of abuse. First, learn to love yourself, if that's an issue. For a lot of you, I don't really think it's an issue, no offense. Bottom line is, if you want to be loved, love. If you don't want to be hated, then don't hate. Teacher of mine, admirable man, he had a saying he devised when I first had it in my freshman year in high school. Don't hate. Celebrate. It's a saying that's stuck with me for 2 or 3 years now. I'm going to my senior year of high school, so yeah, I guess that is about 3 years. That's probably going to stay with me a lot longer. As I fix my hair repeatedly, in the hopes of eventually returning it to a position which I can accept. There we go. That's acceptable. Not really. Just kidding. I'll take it. Anyway. Consider for yourself what you will do. God, I have a mop hair now. Anyway. Consider for yourself what you are going to do to fulfill that law imprinted on your heart. As the Hindus would say, to fulfill the true rule of life. That is my challenge to you. It's simple. Love someone. Express that love. It doesn't have to be romantic. It doesn't have to be fraternal or sororic. It can be platonic. It can be friendly. It could be the love that you give a stranger simply by their grace of being human. I think that's fairly accessible, fairly reachable goal. And I think you'll agree if you want to give it a shot. So there we go, everyone. Random quote. In about approaching 15 minutes of talking about it. So, what happens now? As always, that's up to you.